The verbs,
The the pronunciation.
the pronunciation of the verbs in past,
Mhm,
the regular and the irregular. Yes. The regular
mhm.
verbs that finish in ed and the irregular that finish in anything else. Like for example, eat, ate, have, had. There are many irregular. I send you the list, right? Let me see. I think yes. I send you the list on WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp group, you have a list with 101 irregular past tense verbs. That's a lot. Look, go, went, the verb be was and were, drive a car, drove, eat, ate, get, got, read, read, teach, taught. Which other that maybe you remember? Write, wrote, win, won. So you have here this list with 101 irregular, and this one with 20, that's not too many, regular verbs. Arrived, carried, listened, finished, lived, played. So here you have it on the WhatsApp group, ahí se las dejo para que las vayan leyendo. Son 101, pero bueno, pueden empezar con 20 o 25, 30 verbs. With the ones that we use the most, empiecen con los más usados. Go, went, have, had, here, make, made, meet, met, those ones. So yesterday we were talking about the past tense. And today we're going to continue with the past tense. But I have here something else, the difference between history and story. Do you remember what's the difference between history and story? Do you?
Yeah,
What's the
yeah. History is something happened before. I mean, in the past, exactly. It's something. It's true. Something happened.
Mhm. And story? Yes.
The story is something maybe I don't know how to say.
Well, both history and story both can happen in the past. But
Yeah, but something can be true and something can be false. I
because
mean,
history, the first one, is the study of the past, the study of the past events. History, that's why history is all the time a subject at school. Like, for example, history of Venezuela, history, universal history, this universal history, history of, I don't know, Egypt. History is all the time the study of the past. That's why you have this channel, history channel, this one, that is history with the letter H, history, this. Because the channel, all the time, it has programs for the study of the past. The Egyptian civilization, the Mayan, the study of the past in general. Okay. History, and the pronunciation is like this. His, wait, let me show you. History. History.
history.
History. History, yes. Also, history is for um, the medical area. When we say a medical history,
History.
when you go to the clinic or to the hospital, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
first time, and then you have to say your name, where are you from, what's happening with you, to you. That's a medical history. No medical story. No medical history. History is the study of the past. History siempre es el estudio del pasado. Por eso siempre es, I say, I am a history teacher, like this. No a story teacher, a
Mm-hmm.
history. A history of Venezuela teacher, for example. History. This here. Then story is different. Story. The pronunciation it's like this. Story. 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 Story is a description of events. Okay? Story es contarle a alguien algo que te pasó o algo que te está pasando. Le quieres contar algo que te sucedió o que te sucede. Story. Okay? Por eso tenemos Instagram stories in plural. Instagram stories.
Mhm.
Okay? That's why. Or when someone says, let me tell you a story. Or let me tell you something that happened to me. Let me tell you a story. Yes. But
Okay.
the most important thing here is the pronunciation. History, history, and this is story.
Story.
No story. Story, no. Story. Story. The letter, it's just the letter S. You don't have to open your mouth. No tienen que abrir la boca. Solo hacen el sonido de la S. Story. Story. No story. No. Story. Like, for example, when you say stop, when you say study, when you say statue, when you say screen, the screen of the cell phone, the screen, that's the pronunciation. Story. Yes.
Yes.
Let's read here. Let's see. Valentina read history and Jose read story. Let's see what's the difference between history this and story this. Let's read it.
History.
History, the first. Huh? Here. History is the study. Let me show.
Medical history.
In this part, look.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
History is the study of the past, and as such as we studied at school. It's normally an uncountable noun.
Yes. And Jose, a story.
Okay, they say a story is description of events. It is something we read or something we tell to entertain people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
entertain para entretener.
Entertain people. Mhm.
Yes, entertain people. Yes. Here, let me write here. Here it says history, the first one, the one that Valentina read. History is uncountable. ¿Se acuerdan de countable and uncountable?
Mhm.
History is uncountable. I mean, I cannot say, I have 3 histories. No. History is in singular all the time. Okay? History
Yeah.
is not plural. History no lo puedo poner en plural. O sea, no puedo decir 1 history, 2 histories, 3 histories, 4 histories. No. Because it's uncountable. En cambio, story is countable. This is countable. This is uncountable. Story, I can say, I have 3 stories to tell. Tengo 3 historias que te voy a contar. Story, sí puedo ponerlo en plural. History, no. History is uncountable. So I have here 5 sentences, and you have to choose between history or story. Who wants to do the first? Who wants to start? Let me put it bigger. The first. Who wants to go first? They're not difficult, they're easy.
Me.
The first.
La leo.
Yeah. I'm very
Interested in the history of ancient Egypt.
So
History.
The first or the second?
The first.
The first, right? History.
Yes.
I'm very interested in the history of ancient Egypt, history of Venezuela, history of ancient Egypt, the history of Rome, the history, universal history, The history of the kings and queens of England. History. History, the study of the past, always history, with the letter H.
Okay.
The second.
We talked to the police, but they didn't believe our story.
Our story, the second. Yes.
Mhm.
They didn't believe our story. I mean, the story that we were going to tell to the police,
To the police, they don't believe.
no, they don't believe it. They didn't believe it, the story.
Mhm.
Because it's something that you're going to say, a story. Something that you're going to say to another person. Un
Mhm.
cuento, una historia, algo que le vas a decir a alguien. That's a story. Okay? Puede ser verdad, puede ser mentira, pero es una historia. It's a story. My nephew, the third. Who wants to go with the third? My nephew.
If no one wants to, I'll do it.
My nephew,
Okay. My nephew studied American political history at the university.
That's the first, right?
Yes.
The history. When you see university, school, the subject is all the time history. History at the university. American political history. History siempre es la materia. Okay, the university, the school, history. Then let's see, Dariani, can you read the fourth? Dariani, the
Yes.
fourth, and maybe Kelvin, the last, the fifth.
When I was a child, my dad always read me a story before I went to bed.
The second, a story.
Yes.
Yes. When
Yes.
I was a child. When I was a child, my dad always read me a story. Yes. The books for children or for a baby, we say that's a children's story. Story, like this, children's story. The books for the children, most of the time it's story. Like for example, maybe Snow White, Blancanieves, maybe the Red Riding Hood, la Caperucita Roja, eso todo es story. Okay.
Inventado.
It's a story. Todo lo que es libros de niños, cuentos, cualquier cuento, it's a story. Una historia de amor, a love story, like this. Then the last, the fifth one, the five. My brothers.
Okay, my brother's a history
Professor.
professor at York University.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah.
The first is a history because if it is at the university, at school, it's all the time history.
History.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, that's the difference. In Spanish, we don't have two words, we have just one. En español solo tenemos historia, sea lo que sea, historia médica, historia la materia del colegio, una historia que contar, es solo historia. Pero en inglés, history or story, it depends. Let me show you another exercise. I have one more here. So I want you to understand this. Look at this. History, story. This. I'm going to read it and you tell me what do you think. There is an interesting in the newspaper. There is an interesting in the newspaper. Story. Yes. It's in the newspaper, so it's a story. If it is in the newspaper, it's a story. About a teacher in France.
History.
History teacher. Is a teacher
In
of
France.
history.
Or history, yes.
She teaches history at school or at university, I don't know. But yeah, it's the subject. Last Friday, she started classes with her students. The classes were about the
History.
History.
of ancient Rome, history, like this. At the weekend, she discovered some Roman money in her garden. Look at this. Is that really true? Or it's just a
Story.
It's
story?
story.
Yeah, this. Is that true or it's just a story? Well, it's true. She's a writer too. And she wants to write a children's
Story.
story, I told you, children's story, about the Roman
Roman money.
Yes. Do you see here in this conversation, do you see any verbs in past?
Yeah, start,
Started.
Starting.
Uh-huh.
Starting.
discovered,
Discovered. Uh-huh. Yes. I think those are the only ones.
right?
And here,
Okay.
did you see here anything in past?
Yeah, talked,
Interested.
Talked, interested,
went,
went.
Studied.
Study.
Wait, I don't see anything.
Was.
before I went to bed.
Before.
Started.
Wait. I see went here, read
w-
here, talked here,
Studied.
studied.
Was.
Uh-huh.
Didn't.
Interested.
Ah, no, ese es negativo.
Interested is an adjective. Interested. I'm interesada. Termina en ed, pero no es un verbo. It's an adjective.
Yeah.
There
The
are
verb is to be.
the verb is the verb be, yes. There are many adjectives that finish in ed. For example, interested, bored, amazed, and they are adjectives. And there are adjectives that finish in ing, like for example, amazing, boring, and they are not verbs. They are not present continuous, they are adjectives. Hay muchas palabras en inglés que terminan en ed y no son verbos necesariamente. Pueden ser adjetivos. También hay muchas palabras que terminan en ing, tampoco son verbos, son como amazing, for example. So interested in this sentence is an adjective. We talked, studied, read, went. Yeah, those are the only ones in past. So do you understand the difference between history and story?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not that difficult, just remember. History, this one, history, is all the time medical history, the history of Venezuela, maybe also universal history. I study history at school.
History Channel.
History Channel, the super famous channel that we have. So history is all the time the study of the past. Story, this one, story, the pronunciation is different, is story. This.
Like Toy Story.
Instagram stories in plural. Instagram stories. Siempre las personas que van a hacer una historia dicen, bueno, tengo un history time. Yo, ¿cómo así? It's a story time, like this. Story time. Voy a contar algo que me pasó. It's a story time, no a history. History time, no. Story time, yes. Like
I
this.
got a question about the second sentence.
Which one?
Yeah.
History of Venezuela.
No. And in the other page. Yeah, this one. He say we talk to the police, but they didn't believe our history. Is an auxiliary or verb?
Didn't.
Yeah, didn't. Yeah.
Didn't is we're going to study that also. That's the negative form of the past tense. Didn't, it means no. Like they not believed our story. Okay. Didn't.
Yeah.
Is the auxiliary.
So we use didn't use for saying no.
Yes, in the past tense, yes.
Okay.
For example, I say, I went to Aruba last week.
Okay.
In negative, to say that I not go, I didn't go to Aruba last week. Didn't is the auxiliary of the negative sentences in past.
Okay.
That's,
Wow.
but we're going
Yeah.
to study. We're going to study that. We're going to see it. But talking about story, you can hear story when someone says Instagram stories, a story time, a children's book, a children's story, a love story, like this. Most of the time with these sentences, we hear story. Let me take a photo of this and let me send it to you. I think that the most important is the pronunciation. Yo creo que los estudiantes entienden la diferencia entre history y story. Lo que les cuesta es la pronunciación. Okay. Y no es nada difícil, es history, this, history, history, and this is story. Okay. No story, story. The letter S, story. Like, for example, when you say stop, study, screen.
Like the movie, Toy Story.
Like the movie Toy Story, yes, exactly. Story. But it's difficult because in Spanish, we don't have words that start with S. En español no tenemos palabras que empiecen con S. Entonces estamos acostumbrados a decir estación, escudo, estadio. Entonces queremos decir story. But no, it's story. No, not the letter E. The letter E, no. Okay? When we say, for example, statue, sculpture, un truco es que traten de decir la palabra con la boca cerrada. La S no necesita que abran la boca. Solo hacen s, con el sonido de la serpiente y ya. Story. Story. No hay que abrir la boca. Story. Así les va a salir. Story. Story. History. That's the difference on the pronunciation. Do you understand? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, today we're going to continue with the past tense, the past simple tense, and I have for today a paragraph that is on page 80. It's this one, page 80. It's a paragraph. This paragraph has a lot of past tense, a lot of verbs in past. So we are going to practice the pronunciation of the past. So we're going to read the first part that starts from June 17 to equipment, maybe. Equipment, yeah. Who wants to read the first part? June 17.
Me.
Aún.
Well, you and then Oriana is going to read until newspapers.
Okay.
Okay. We say June 17, 1972, 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Woodward answered his phone. It was the city news editor of Washington Post. That morning, the police had arrested 5 men of Democratic headquarters. The men had cameras and electronic equipment. Equipment.
Yes. And Ori, the city editor. Ori, are you there? The city editor? Oh.
Yeah, wait.
The city editor.
The city editor wanted to know who Woodward coming to police.
The office.
Woodward, huh?
Coming to the office.
Woodward left his apartment and walked to the office of the Washington Post. The newsroom was usually quiet on Saturday morning. Saturday was a day of long lunches and reading the weekend newspaper.
Good. Let's go here. Who wants to go with this part? Not today. Someone.
Me.
Yeah?
Not today. At the front of the newsroom, Woodward heard some more news about the Bulgari.
Mhm.
It wasn't at the small local Democratic Party office, but the main headquarters in the Watergate office. That's interesting. He talks,
He thought. He thought.
thought, okay,
Yes, the verb thought is the past tense of think. Think.
okay.
Past tense is thought, like this. And the
Thought,
pronunciation is something like this. Thought, thought, thought,
okay.
thought. That's the pronunciation. Good. Let's see the last. Who wants to read the last paragraph? Maybe, I don't know who is here. Dariani? Yeah, you want to read it? Woodward picked up that phone.
Yes. Woodward picked up the phone and made some calls. We looked across the room and saw Bernstein, another reporter at the post. Carl Bernstein always knew a good story when he saw one and often got his name on it.
Yes, a good story. Perfect. Let me erase this. So let's start here. On the first part, the part that Jose read, what verbs do you see here in past?
Answered,
Answered.
Is one. Huh? Which one?
Arrested.
Arrested. Had arrested. Had is in past and arrested is in past too. Had arrested. This sentence is in past perfect. But yeah, both verbs are in past. Had and arrested.
Was.
Was the city here was, yes. I think that was it.
That's it.
On the second
had,
Wanted.
had,
wanted, had. Where's had? Here.
and the men had cameras. Abajo de vista.
Had cameras. The men had cameras and electronic equipment. Yes.
Mhm.
And this,
Come.
What?
Come.
the past tense of come is came. Came.
Yeah.
Like this. Came. Come is in present.
Was usually.
Came is in past. Was usually.
Abajo de walked.
Walk-
Ah,
Was. Oh my God, I'm going to put my glasses on because I don't see anything. Was.
Heard.
Shared.
Heard.
Heard. The past tense of hear. Heard. Yes. Heard, hear. Left. Left is the past tense of leave.
Leave.
Dejar. Dejar un lugar. Left. Left his apartment. Left. And I think that was it.
yeah.
This.
The last one is a was.
Which one? Look, in this part. Wasn't.
Yeah, wasn't. Thought.
Thought. The
He
past
thought.
think. Thought. Yes.
Picked up.
Made. Made.
Made.
Made. Yeah. Looked.
Looked.
Saw.
Saw.
So, this. The past tense of see. So,
Got.
got, the past tense of get.
Knew.
Knew, the past tense of know. Yeah, there are many verbs here. Let me put it like this. Here, many verbs. Regular and also irregular. For the regular ones, we have answered, arrested. I'm going to separate them. This. Arrested. I have picked.
Wanted.
Answered. Arrested. Wanted. Which other? Walked is also here.
Walked.
Picked.
Picked.
Looked.
Looked also. Walked. Wanted. Wanted is here. Wanted. What other do you see regular? I think that's it. Arrested, wanted, walked, picked, I wrote it. Looked, I wrote it too. Yeah, the only ones that I see, the ED they are these. And look at this, I have T pronunciation, D pronunciation, and IT pronunciation. Fíjense, tenemos lo que les contaba ayer. Tenemos verbos en los cuales la ED suena como T, como picked, walked, looked. We don't say picked. Picked, no. Walked, no. Looked, no. Picked, walked, looked. The T sound. Because they finish in the last sound is the sound of a K. Picked, walked, looked. So we have here the T sound. Answered, answered, like this. Answered, answered. The W is silent. The W, we don't have to pronounce the W. Answered, answered, answered. And look at this. Arrested, wanted. So picked, walked, looked, answered, arrested. And the irregular, what verbs do you see that are irregular? Tell me.
Had,
Had,
Was,
left,
left,
saw,
left,
this
got,
made,
got,
made, got,
which others?
thought,
So, new, also. Had is the past
thought,
tense of
Heard.
have. Heard. Heard. Yes. Have is the past tense of
had,
have. Have had. Was is the past tense of the verb be. Left is the past tense of the verb leave. Saw is the past tense of the verb see. Get is the past tense of the verb got.
make,
Make, this one.
new.
No new.
No new.
Yes. And here,
Here.
heard.
heard,
So we have regular and irregular. Write it here. Regular. Regular verbs, irregular verbs. The regular verbs always finish with ed. Picked, walked, looked, answered. I think we also have read, no? Read. I know puede serlo. Bueno, let me open it here in another page. Like this. Creo que he visto heard también. Voy a escribirlo. Heard is the past tense of the verb. I wrote it. It's the last. Here is the past tense of the verb heard. Right. Here, this one. So let me take another photo and I'm going to send you this. This here. Let me erase it. Good. So what are we going to do? We are going to read one more time and pay attention to the pronunciation. Ahora que ya saben, traten de pronunciarlo mejor. Answered, arrested, wanted, walked, here, heard, thought, picked, looked, got. So let's go again. Jose, then Oriana, then this was Kelvin. Let's start. June 17.
He said June 17, 1972. 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Woodburn answered his phone. It was the city news editor of Washington Post. That morning, the police had arrested 5 men at Democratic headquarters. Democratic or Democratic?
Democratic. No.
Democrat?
Wait, I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay.
Democratic.
Look.
I think it's democratic. Democratic headquarters.
Democratic, yes.
Or democratic? Let's see. Democratic. Let's see. Let me share this out to be sure. Here, UK, US.
Democratic.
Democratic.
Democratic. Okay.
Democratic, yes. Democratic. The Democratic headquarters.
Democratic headquarters.
Yes.
Mhm.
Then the men, that was Oriana. The men had cameras. I think. I don't remember. No, Oriana was from the city editor. This. Jose, continue here. The men.
Okay. The men had cameras and electronic equipment.
Equipment, yes. Equipamiento, equipment. The electronic equipment, like for example, cell phones, computers, electronic
Cameras.
equipment. Then this, that was Oriana's, the city editor.
The city editor wanted to know, could Woodward come into the office? Woodward left his apartment and walked to the office of the Washington Post. The newsroom was usually quiet on Saturday morning.
Yes, good. And here, that was Calvin. I think Saturday was a day.
Saturday was a day for lunches and reading the weekend newspaper. Not today.
Not today.
At the front of the newsroom, Woodward heard some more news about the burglary. It wasn't at the small local Democratic Party office, but the main headquarters in the Watergate office. That's interesting, he thought.
He thought. That's
Thought.
interesting. That's interesting. He thought. That's interesting. Interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Then Dayani. Woodward picked, and then Valentina can read it again. Woodward picked up.
Woodward picked up the phone and made some calls. We looked across the room and saw Bernstein, another reporter at the Post. Carl Bernstein always knew a good story when he saw one, and often got his name on it.
Valentina, you can read it again. Woodward picked up the phone and made. Or Oriana, you can read it also. Woodward picked up the phone and made what? No one? I can read it. Woodward picked up. What was it? Woodward picked up the phone.
Woodward picked up the phone and made some calls. He looked across the room and saw Bernstein, another reporter of the Post. Carl Bernstein always knew a good story when he saw one, and often got his name on it.
Yes. I saw another verb in past. Look at this. Could. Could is the past tense of the verb can. Can, could. Like this. For example, I can play the
Eso es
piano.
podría, ¿verdad? Podría.
Podría o pude also. Podría, pude. I could play the piano in 2010. Yo pude play the piano in 2010. Could is the past tense of can. That's another verb in past. Solo que can no es un verbo, can es un modal. Está en un grupo de palabras que se llaman modal verbs. Y por eso no lo dije al principio, pero lo volví a leer. Y could is the past tense of can. Can, could. Could, people use a lot could when they want to ask for a favor for something. For example, could you pass me the water? Could you
Send a letter.
Send me a letter. Send me a letter. Could you open that box? Could también se usa mucho para pedir algo. Seguro ahí sí lo han escuchado bastante. Could. Could you send me a letter? Could you open the box? Could you please open the door? Could you pass me a glass of water? Could you, podrías Could you do this? So could is also the past tense of can. Yes. So verbs, estamos en eso todo el
I
día. De que
I use more can.
can is in present tense.
Can you?
Can
That's
you
what I use.
can you open?
Mhm.
Can is more could
More informal, right?
more informal. Could is like more formal, more it's different. But yes, for when asking for favors also. Look at this. I have here more verbs. I have answered, waited, stopped, looked,
Looked, indeed.
started, and walked. And remember that we have the pronunciation of the T, the pronunciation of the D, and the pronunciation of the it. Yes? Which verbs do you think that have the pronunciation of the T? The T sound.
Looked.
Huh? Looked. This. Looked. Which other?
Walked.
Walk. Yeah.
Walked. This. Walked. Which other?
That's it.
That's it? There's
Maybe stop.
stopped. Stopped. Stopped is not
Stop.
stop. It's
Stop.
stopped.
It's not with D.
No, it's with
Stop.
T.
Oh,
Stop.
yeah. Yes, continue.
It's with
Yes,
T.
with D.
Because
Yeah.
Because we have the final P sound. So when you have a sound of a P, I think I sent you yesterday. I sent you a photo. When you have a sound of a P, well, I didn't write it, no lo escribí, pero the P is also like a T. The P and the K is here. Look.
Okay.
Like looked, walked, stopped is with T also. Then the sound of the D sound. I don't know what is happening. This.
And
Answer.
no. And
Wait.
Answered. Yes, answered. Which other?
Listen.
Listen. Yes. Those two. Answered, listen. Y el más fácil de reconocer, este no es difícil de reconocer, este es fácil. Waited, ended, started. When the verbs finish in T or D. When the last sound is a T or a D. Started, ended. That one is easy. When we have, for example, graduated, ended, started, visited, which other? Voted for the elections, voted, waited. That one is easy to understand. Waited, voted, visited, started, ended, graduated. Yes. The P sound when we have stopped, looked,
Shop.
liked. Which one?
Shop.
Shopped, like this.
Bueno,
el
cortar.
primero seguramente fue cortar. Shop, cortar. Which other can I say? Maybe also. Yesterday I say laughed. Reírme, me reí. I laughed. Also, those are
Arrived.
Yes, arrived. Arrived, he visto que lo pronuncian de las dos maneras, con T y con D también. Arrived. Yeah, I arrived. I arrived in New York last week. Arrived. Eso también, a veces como depende de la ciudad o depende del lugar, hay personas que a veces la palabra la suenan como T, a veces como D, a veces hay ciertas excepciones, poquitas, pero sí las hay. Pasa mucho también con la palabra trabajar, que es worked. Pero hay lugares en Estados Unidos que dicen worked. Sí, hay pocos, pero los hay. Worked. Pero debería ser worked. So, this is the T sound. Okay. And the D sound Loved, this sound. Loved, remembered. Well, here we have listened, answered. The W is silent. Lived,
Answer.
that's the D sound. The D sound and the T sound, estos dos sonidos se parecen bastante. El it, no. It is different. So, let's listen to the audio de 304. Let me show you this. Drive 304. Here. No, elementary, no. Wow. See. 30444. Listen to the pronunciation of the person. And you're going to see the difference between the T, the D, the it. Listen to the pronunciation.
Track 4. Answer. Answered.
Yeah, first they say the present tense, and then they say the past. Okay? They say it first like this and then like this.
Track 4. Answer. Answered. Wait. Waited. Stop. Stopped. Look. Looked. End. Ended. Listen. Listened. Start. Started. Walk. Walked.
Pronunciation of walk is something like this.
What?
Walked.
Esa gente es británica.
What?
A mí, esa gente es británica, creo.
Yeah, this accent, yes. That accent, yeah. Walked. The letter L is silent. You don't pronounce the L. La L no suena. It's silent. It's mute. Walked. 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 So, yeah. Aquí lo más importante es que no digan answered o stopped o looked. Ya con el que no digan así, ya tenemos mucho ganado. Okay, ya esto, bueno, hay que los tengo que ir corrigiendo para que lo digan todos así. Pero aquí lo importante es saber que o va a sonar como T, o como D, o como ID. Pero casi nunca walked, no. Walked, walked, walked.
Story.
O loved. Loved, no. Loved, loved, loved. But no, loved, no. Or for example, live here. I lived in New York last month here. I lived. No, I lived. No, lived. No, lived. Right. That's the important thing here. Lived, no lived. Yes. And
Yes.
yeah, Jose?
No, así, yes.
And the didn't that Kelvin was asking for didn't is part of the past tense. We are going to study this too, the didn't auxiliary. Didn't is the auxiliary of the negative sentences. Okay, en todo este estudio del pasado vamos a hablar también de el didn't para decir que no. Y también vamos a hablar del did para hacer preguntas. También vamos a recordar las preguntas en pasado. Y para hacer preguntas, muchas veces podemos usar el did. Okay. Entonces,
So I have a question. Every time when we when we say no in the past, in the present past, we use a did in the past verb.
no, not all the time, because if I have, for example, I was in New York last month. In this case, I don't say I didn't was in New York last.
Yes, I wasn't. Yeah,
was.
no. There are some verbs that we don't use the auxiliary do and the and I know that. But my question is that the rest of the verb, example, all the verbs that we was studying like 2 minutes ago, we use a did not for negative.
For example, we started some 5 minutes ago, and in negative, we didn't study
Exactly.
5 minutes ago. Yes, for all the verbs, we use didn't. Or you can also say another possibility, did not. No, I didn't, we
Yeah.
didn't, we did not. Or more informal, we not. We not started 5 minutes ago. But this is super, super, super informal.
Okay.
But yeah, the only exception is the verb be, that the verb be is wasn't and weren't. But for the rest of the verbs, go, have, visit, study, eat, we use
Yeah.
didn't. Okay.
Yeah, and the verb when we say no and we use did, it's going to be in present.
We should say we not studied like this. We not studied 5 minutes ago. Studied because we don't have the auxiliary. So we should
Yeah,
put it
exactly.
in the past tense. It should be like that. We
Okay.
also have, you know that we have past simple, but we also have past continuous. That is, we were studying. We were studying 5 minutes ago. This is another option, past continuous, and we can say we weren't studying 5 minutes ago. Yes, that's another option. In this
Okay.
unit, we're going to see the past simple, but we also have the past continuous, that is with ing. That's another option. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay, gotcha.
do you have another question? Any of you?
No.
No. Well, all of these days, every day, this week, next week, all these days, we're going to study the past tense. Negative,
Good.
questions, pronunciation, everything. So tomorrow we continue with this, with the past simple tense. Every day is going to be past. Yes.
All right.
So do you
How
have
long we got for learn the verbs, all verbs?
how long you need to study all of them?
Yeah.
A lot of time, because there are hundreds of thousands of verbs. There are many.
Because I never remember the verbs. Every time I forget.
Well, I recommend you to read this list, because in this list we have the most used ones. So
Okay.
I recommend you this. I recommend you to start with this, because in this list you have the ones that we use the most. Yes.
Okay.
Start with this. I'm going to put a pin on this so you study this. And this one and this one. The regular and the irregular. Start with this. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Another question for today. Who was calling me?
No.
No? Good. So I see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.